want to touch base on an issue that I believe I'm having with the 03 E350 and what seems to be a problem across the board with a lot of different Ford trucks and vans from this time period. Even I think going back all the way to 94. By looking through the forums, it's like a short that happens with the shift lever and the wires that go over in the steering column to connect those wires. They rub over time and start shorting out and causing a bunch of issues. In my case, it seems like when I first bought the van, these two lights would come on. It'd be like the oil temp light and the low fuel light. And he just said, oh, don't worry about it. Whenever you hit the gas, they turn off. So I knew it was a short. But generally, anytime you're going to have electrical issues with any vehicle, instantly just ask to knock off money, because it most likely is going to be a pain in the ass. This one doesn't look like too bad if that is the actual issue. So we're going to dive into that and see what we can do about fixing those issues. And with this problem, I've even had it to where the van will turn off if I would roll up a window or even jiggle the shift lever wrong. So that's why I've kind of deduced that it is that shift lever, because it does turn off the dash lights, and it seems to run fine if I jiggle it in the right way and have it held in the right way when I'm starting it. There's also been issues with that where it'll flicker on and off, and I'll never get the wait to start light. Since this is a diesel, you do need to wait for that before it'll start. So it's been a widespread issue. I'm hoping that this will be the fix for all of that. Starting underneath, you need to look for these holes, these larger ones. This one, and this one need to be undone. It's just a standard Phillips bit, so pull those out first. The screws probably won't come out right away, but they might drop out, so just keep an eye on it. This one's not wanting to come out. The other thing too is the tilt steering knob. You need to unscrew that. Might take some doing at first. I already got this loosened. The whole thing comes out. Then you should be able to pull off this whole bottom panel. First and foremost, since we will be dealing with electrical, we're going to want to disconnect the battery for safety reasons and to make sure we don't short anything out. Get that set off to the side. And with this particular van, it does have a secondary battery, so you want to make sure you disconnect the whole thing in addition to this piece as well, because this battery is still running into this whole system here. So to disconnect this second battery, you're just removing this nut here, and then once that's removed, you'll pull this whole assembly off. Make sure that it's wrapped up and tucked away. Next thing you want to do is put the key in the ignition and turn it to the first spot. Then there's that pin right there. You're going to want to push that in. And once you get that pin pushed in, you pull this out, and then this whole assembly will come out with it. One thing to mention is you do want to pulled the tilt steering all the way down to get this top cap off, because it does tuck down back underneath there. You should also put on your parking brake, shift that down, and the thing's a bitch to get out, that's for sure. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and take a look at if we can find that short in there. Okay, so I got it all pulled apart. This piece here, it's just the rubber boot, and there's a little peg. You can easily pull that off. Once you pull that up and get that off of here, there's a little notched hasp that comes out of right there, and you can just pull up on that. Generally it comes up pretty easy. As for this harness, it's way back in there, so I was able to reach up through here and be able to lift up. There's a little hasp that closes down on that piece right there. I was able to reach through there and just use my finger and pick it up. I don't know how easy that will be for other people. There is a gap below too, where if you can get your fingers on it, it wasn't too hard to lift it up. But now that I pulled it through, there's this little bracket that attaches onto the boot right there that I just had to squeeze and push through. And I examined this cable, and there seems to be nothing wrong with it. No shorts, no broken wire anywhere. So now I'm starting to begin to think it's the actual button. It doesn't feel right. The previous owner did have a trailer that looks like he used quite often, so I'm thinking he had this on and off quite a bit. So I'm gonna have to get a new assembly, and hopefully that will be what fixes that issue. So I'm gonna replace this. I think that's what it is. I hope that's what it is. So I went and bought one at Autozone. It's $60. It's not an OEM part, but see how it's like keeping on resetting. It's gotta be. See, when I'm messing with it, it kind of ticks on and off. So we'll get this thing pulled out. And then here's that little clip again. I just pressed on it with needle nose here to pull it out, and then you can pretty much just pop this off with your fingernail, but that's what kind of holds this wire into the boot, keeps it a little more stable. So taking that out, move the boot up out of the way, and then that needs to come all the way out. There we go. Alright, got that pin out, set that aside. And that whole piece comes off. If you want to save the boot, take that off. Okay, I got the boot back on. And that slid back into place. Okay, now we'll just reset that wire into that clip that goes into the boot. And naturally this wire is too big for this clip. I can't get it closed, so I think I'm gonna have to drill that hole out just a little bit bigger in the clip. So I'll run a drill through that Just a little bit bigger bit. Okay. Now to get that harness back plugged in. Let's see if I can do this and film at the same time. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. Alright, that's all in place now. It does have to move back into a clip on this piece here. I don't know if I'll be able to film it and do this at the same time. Okay. And I just clipped it in. Let's see. Right there. It's a little harness. Just push it in from the top. And make sure your clearance up here is good. And it's not rubbing on anything. I mean, it's hard. It was a stupid design by Ford, but now it's up out of the way. I can put the covers back on. Top cover back in place here. The ignition back in. Now I just gotta throw the bottom piece on, screw that all in. Alright, so in the end, the shifter lever did not end up being the main cause of the shorting going on in the van, with the dash lights flickering, the van just randomly dying, and it sometimes having problems starting or even get to the ready to start phase where the glow plugs are all warmed up. So this video will just be showing how to do the actual shifter assembly, which is a common problem, so hopefully that will help out some people with those issues. However, the main root cause of the issue ended up being a starter solenoid issue. So on part 2, I'll show you how to do that. It'll be another quick video like this one, and it's pretty much right to the point, and it should hopefully help people with this issue, because it was a big headache for me for a while. Very discouraging when you're dealing with electrical issues. So please consider subscribing if you're liking these videos. Leave a comment with any questions that you have about this. If there's anything I left out, I'd love to help you answer it. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.